Good morning, everybody. Sorry about the sound. I am working with a different microphone, so I'm trying to calibrate it properly. So yesterday was too quiet. I hope today is right. So the People's Party of Guelph is tweeting out, quote, "At Twitter support, I'm trying to unlock at Mark Peralivas. It was locked on the 14th. I don't know why. I've not received any emails from you. I've submitted reports every morning, and the process looks like what I attach. How do I regain access to my account? What do you need?" And I just want to show you, when I try and go to Twitter to check and see if I'm able to be logged in, that's what I see. And I enter my phone number, and I've already entered it here, and it says unsupported phone number. And usually when that happens, I go up here and I hit the help button, and it takes me to another page, and it says if you're having trouble accessing your account or whatever, you click here. And typically, when I say this says unsupported phone number, they email me in an hour and say sorry about that, and they unlock my account, and it's no problem. And it's very strange that it's been 4 days now that I have been sending this out. So I tweeted to them and I said, hey, Twitter support, right? And so when I go through that, I get an email and it says, hello, we noticed that you currently have an open report about this. And so that's weird. So when I send an email, they say, yeah, we're looking at it, but there hasn't been any personal correspondence to me at all. It's only been through form letters, and the form letters are just quick emails. So I emailed them and I said, this is my email address. I'm still locked out of my account. I don't know why. I'm a candidate for federal office. Please unlock my account. I just said unlock my account. And then I get, again, another form letter, and then I click through, and this is what I do every morning. And it says, I have been in contact. I don't know what you need. When I try to enter my phone number, it says phone number not supported. I can't find an open report to respond to. What am I supposed to do to get my account unlocked? So Twitter, what am I supposed to do to get my account unlocked? I don't know. I really don't. And there's been no communication. I have no idea. Zero. I don't understand how this can be allowed to continue. How long should it take to get a candidate's Twitter back online? And how long should it take for the candidate to be notified what he did or she did to violate the rules? Because as far as I know, I didn't violate any rules. Who knows? Moving on to the next story, CTV Montreal is reporting, quote, protesters fight to block new Laval migrant detention center. This is posted on July 15th. Several community groups are protesting plans by Ottawa to build a new migrant detention center in Laval. While the Trudeau government claims it will be a more humane immigration detention center, protesters say it's still cruel. Quote, even short periods of detention are highly traumatic and detrimental to migrants' health. Martin Lopez, vice president of the Quebec Women's Federation, said, we denounce the government's investment in infrastructure that upholds and reproduces violence against migrants. The new 8,000 square meter center is going to be a place to hold migrants who can't prove their identity or deemed a potential security threat. The new facility would be complete with a play center for children and plenty of trees. I scroll down. Ottawa has handed down the $49.5 million contract to company Tisser of Val David to build a new detention center in the next 2 years. That's $25 million a year for non-citizens at a migrant detention center. Could we spend that money some other way that would benefit Canadian citizens? Maybe? No? Back to the article. Detention centers are necessary when illegal migrants pose a flight risk and are a security threat or cannot be identified, says Neil Drabkin, former chief of staff to the Minister of Public Safety. Interesting stuff, right? When somebody crosses our border and doesn't have identification and is violent, then we need to build them a very nice new detention center with 50 million Canadian taxpayer dollars over the next 2 years. But homeless people in Guelph get 1.48 million over the next 5 years. Do you see a discrepancy that makes you frustrated at where your tax dollars are being spent? I do. The next one is a problematic BC court ruling, and I'll show you why in just a second. First, I want to go through one case, and then I'll show you another case involving the same person. Here's the Post Millennial, and Post Millennial reports on both. Another BC woman forced out of business in transgender male genitalia waxing case. And here is a mother and business owner was forced to end her Brazilian waxing business after being taken to the BC Human Rights Tribunal for refusing to wax a transgender woman's male genitalia. Maria de Silva, who is an immigrant from Brazil, operated the business out of her home where her small children also live. De Silva claims that she refused to perform the procedure on the claimant, Jessica Yanev, due to safety concerns raised by her husband and alleged harassment on Yanev's part, and not because of the claimant's identity. Yanev, who is formerly known as Jonathan Yanev, has taken 15 other BC women to the tribunal for refusing to wax her male genitalia, citing discrimination based on gender identity, and is seeking financial compensation. Many of the women are of East East Asian ethnicity and have English as their second language. During Wednesday's tribunal proceedings, De Silva claims that the incident directly led to her shutting down her business and losing it as a source of income for her family. Okay, so that's one, and the link is in the description. There's more to this story, and you can read for yourself if you're interested. Here's the second one, and this is reported 6 days ago. Mainstream media ignores the inconvenient truth of BC transgender male genitalia waxing case. It's interesting. There's a disclosure up here. The lawyer John Carpe is president of the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, which represents 3 of the women against whom JY has filed human rights complaints. So he has a horse in this race, just so you're aware, and I think that's worth being aware of. Okay, thanks to citizen journalists, Canadian media failed to boycott controversial human rights tribunal hearings in Vancouver. On July 4th and 5th, 2019, no media were present while the BC Human Rights Tribunal heard 2 of the complaints filed by JY, a transgender person with male genitalia. JY contacted over a dozen BC estheticians in 2018 to request a Brazilian bikini wax. JY often used a stereotypical male name and image when contacting the estheticians on Facebook Marketplace. The women then informed JY that they only waxed women. A Twitter user with 2,500 followers, quote, going like Elsie, hashtag mythological biological female, states, quote, my feminism prioritizes the material condition of women over the internal identification of men. At going like Elsie, has been tweeting a meticulous play-by-play synopsis of what transpired at 2 hearings on July 4th and 5th that have now been read by thousands of people across the globe. Claiming discrimination on the basis of gender expression and gender identity, JY withdrew the first 3 complaints. JY did so each time JY learned that the other side had retained a lawyer to defend against the claim. Prior to withdrawing the complaints, JY was demanding money from the women in settlement of the complaint, asking for as much as $3,000. One can only speculate as to how much money JY received in settlement from the women against whom JY commenced legal proceedings. Considering the contents of the tweet from which the information below is taken, it's truly surprising that no Canadian media were present to report on the hearing. Why is this? SB, a Sikh woman who declined to provide genital waxing services, that says waving services, but I should say waxing services, to JY, was working out of her home where young children were present when contacted by JY. In her Sikh faith, intimate touching is reserved only for one's husband. SB has always refused to provide services for men and won't even do facials. She provides waxing services to women to help support her family. Justice Center lawyer Jay Cameron argued that waxing female and male genitalia is different. Since SB has no experience waxing male genitals, she has a bona fide occupational reason not to perform the services. In addition, SB is not comfortable waxing male genitals for both religious and personal safety reasons, since she was working out of her home with small children when her husband was away at work. SB is not being asked to wax a gender identity, but male genitalia. Since JY presented with a stereotypical male name and male appearance, SB cannot be faulted for perceiving JY as a male. Further, JY has made statements about immigrants to the effect of that they are not the cleanest people, liars, and judgmental. For the tribunal to rule in favor of JY by finding that the BC Human Rights Code was violated would amount to requiring SB and other women to provide an intimate service and handle male genitals. So if they go through with this, and it looks like they have and are, then it could be, if you identify as a female and have male genitalia, that you have a right to walk into a spa and request a Brazilian wax. Can you walk up to somebody and say, handle my genitals? Isn't that sexual assault? Isn't this sexual assault through human rights tribunal? My goodness, at what point did we completely get lost off the path? At what point did we wander off into the woods and lose our way? Because it seems like we're purposely muddying the waters of what is true and what is not true, and it seems very concerning. Next story and last story for this morning, I reported on this yesterday, and it didn't have a picture of the person because it was in outline, but here's a picture. I remember this story, and, well, here's a tweet and then an article. It says, quote, now the story changes as pressure wanting to attend Mohawk College after the public found out. While the last man let out on a day pass escaped on a plane, I'm assuming they won't let another one escape. But then again, this is Canadian law. This sounds fishy. And okay, so I'm gonna show you what we mean, or what that tweet means about the day pass guy on a plane right after this article. Okay, hold on a second. We'll get this one done first. Toronto Sun reporting, quote, NCR stabber wants passes and overnight stays with Toronto family. Following negative media publicity and a blowback from staff, students, and their parents, the mentally ill man who attacked soldiers at a Toronto military recruiting office won't be bound for Mohawk College after all. He'll likely be heading somewhere else. found not criminally responsible, NCR, last year for the 2016 stabbing attack. Alain Hassan Ali, 31, sat quietly in a grey suit before the Ontario Review Board in a locked forensic unit at St. Joseph's Healthcare, where he's lived since his arrest. At his second annual review, everyone around the boardroom table agreed Ali, who suffers from schizophrenia, has made good progress, but continues to pose a significant threat. And then they went on to discuss all the added privileges they believe he should be eligible to earn over the upcoming year. The hospital and his psychiatrist, Dr. Gary Chermowitz, recommended the board clear him to have unaccompanied passes into southern Ontario and travel within a 50-kilometer radius of Hamilton for education or employment. They also agreed with a request by his lawyer, Maureen Addy, that he be eligible for 48-hour overnight passes to Toronto under the supervision of his father or sister. None of this would be automatic, they hastened to add, but would be implemented slowly by the hospital as Ali improves. We take risk to the community as our priority, insisted Chermowitz. Sorry if I've got that wrong. I think that's Chermowitz. Yet he decried the community's uproar about the plans to allow Ali to attend Mohawk College across the street from the hospital. Yeah, it's not about, the public safety threat or the fact that he's mentally ill and has schizophrenia and had an episode where he stabbed people and hurt people. And my goodness, it's about the parents' uproar. How dare those parents be upset? How dare those students be upset? What, they want a safe place to go to school? This is Canada. Get over it. So sick of this. Unbelievable. Okay. The story, first revealed here last year, was back in the news this week after the Court of Appeal upheld the ORB's controversial decision to allow him to enroll and eventually go on his own. Those plans have now been scuttled, Chermowitz told the board, because of the unflattering media coverage led them to worry that Ali himself might be in danger from another student. Okay. It's not even about the other student's safety. It's about his safety, right? But what of the danger he poses? Only Crown Attorney Craig Fraser opposed the extension of Ali's privileges in the face of continuing concerns about his mental health. According to his psychiatrist, Ali continues to get messages from the internet and TV that the military is keeping tabs on him and still believes Canadian soldiers are legitimate targets due to their missions to Muslim lands. His psychotic disorder is not completely treated, conceded Chermowitz. I still have work in the future. In fact, Ali's belief system hasn't changed much since he stormed into the Yonge Street office armed with a kitchen knife. He still feels it's his obligation to do something about it, Fraser warned. The essence of risk remains, and as long as the essence of risk remains, the paramount consideration of the board is the protection of the public, he argued. If the essence of risk is unchanged, why should the disposition change? Meaning, why should he be allowed all of these privileges? And I agree. It's incredibly irresponsible to be even talking about letting this person out. All right, here's the gentleman who posed a significant threat but had community access. He boarded a flight the other day and flew out of Canada. CBC's reporting, this is July 17th, man who poses a significant threat to public left Canada on flight while on community pass. Yeah, a man found not criminally responsible in a 2014 stabbing death. Does that sound familiar from somewhere? Could it? Anyway, doesn't matter. Left Canada on an international flight earlier this month while on an unaccompanied community pass, the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health in Toronto has confirmed. A man found not criminally responsible in a 2014 stabbing death left Canada on an international flight earlier this month while on an unaccompanied community pass. Blah, 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 I just said that. Zemin Kong, 47, was charged with second-degree murder in the death of Cyan Tai Wan at a rooming house in suburban Toronto in North York. 2 years later, he was found not criminally responsible because of a mental disorder. On July 3rd, he got on an international flight, say Toronto police, who wouldn't disclose where he went. In an afternoon statement, the CAMH said Kong had been on an unaccompanied pass to the community in accordance with the terms of his Ontario Review Board disposition on the day he went missing. When he didn't return, CAMH said it notified police at 6:50 p.m. So, it totally makes sense. We should totally get this guy out into the community as fast as possible, right? Is that, what is the plan here? To let these dangerous people out? Why are we letting these people who are stabbing people into the community unaccompanied with community passes? How is that in the public interest? How is that in public safety, in the best interest for public safety? What are we doing? Why are these people boarding flights? And why are the Toronto police refusing to disclose where they went? Did you tell Interpol? Or is that private too? Holy cow. again, what is going on in this country? This is kind of, I was going to report on this, but I'm just going to tell you about it and you can read about it. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Here's Lori Goldstein saying, Donald Trump's divisive comments have no place in society, Andrew Scheer says. So Andrew Scheer's jumping on the bandwagon too. Donald Trump saying comments about America. Yes. Andrew, can you maybe focus on Canada? Can you? And when you're talking about the United States, remember that they're our biggest trade partner? A little bit? No? Goodness me. So that is the end of the show today. Have a wonderful day. Check out the peoplespartyofcanada.ca, and I will see you tomorrow for my interview with Maxime Bernier. I'm very excited about it. I hope you are too. I think Guelph's excited about it as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. Check out the peoplespartyofcanada.ca, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.